Elizabeth Chappell, a lifelong entrepreneur who finally found my niche. After years of new ideas and jumping from business to business, I figured out how to turn a craft into a successful career. In 2016, I started a monthly subscription box for quilters. That little startup has grown into a thriving, multiple six-figure business that I am so proud of. As a published author, designer of fabrics and patterns being sold throughout the world, my favorite thing to do is to teach others how to grow a career of their dreams. Each week, you'll hear from me or from other guests who are creative entrepreneurs, so you can learn exactly what to do and what not to do to grow a career that's more rewarding and successful than you ever thought possible. If you're ready to turn your craft into a career that you love, I am so excited you're here. Welcome to the Craft to Career podcast. Listeners, I'm so excited for you to meet Joshua Dunn of Lifting and Stitching. He is the guest today on the podcast. He started quilting just a few years ago, and he has already created some award-winning quilts. He's about to be featured in a magazine. He's just had some really great success, and it's really due to having such a great niche, or as he calls it, point of view. Joshua's also really great at communication. That's what he does for his daytime job. And he is about to drop and share some really golden, valuable tips for those of you who are out there and want to reach out and collaborate with different businesses. Honestly, that alone is worth so much. So treat yourselves. Let's go in and let me introduce you to Joshua Dunn of Lifting and Stitching. Joshua, thank you so much for being on the Craft to Career podcast. For our listeners, can you introduce who you are in the quilting community?
Well, hi, Elizabeth. Thanks so much for having me on. I am Joshua of Lifting and Stitching, and I have been in the crafting and quilting community for, probably over 5 years now. Awesome. Mostly quilting the cosmos, making quilts inspired by space and the stars and the universe around us.
Okay, I'm just going to dive in right there. Can you tell us where this interest with space came from?
Yeah, because it's very unusual because I'm not an engineer, I'm not a scientist, I'm nothing of the sort. I found a deep love for space because I actually found a comfort with it. So when I think about space, when I was a child, I was very afraid of it. I just thought, everything is against us trying to harm us. But as I've gotten older, I found that there's just some awe and some inspiration around it. And I feel such a calmness when I just explore it. So when I'm working with my quilting, it feels like a translation of that or a connection to it. And that's really how I thread a lot of what I do today. It's threaded with calmness, intrigue, and I learn through the process too. That's the most exciting part, is that I'm learning something. So there was the quilt that I did recently, the Trip Around the Universe quilt. Mm-hmm. I got to learn that a lot of the photos that are taken, especially from James Webb Space Telescope, that the images that we're seeing are not true color or true form. They're a different wavelength of imagery that we don't get to see, like infrared. And it
really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, the color.
That's crazy.
It's great. They use colors as ways to define the different wavelengths and the different forms of gas and dust particles, things of the like, to show and translate how space is transforming out there. And so that's where I got inspired that there's a whole different layer of nature around us that we're not translating into quilts. And that's how I translated Trip Around the Universe. It's a different form of nature.
That is so deep and cool. And okay, I've got to just chat about space for a minute because I have this ebb and flow, tug, yin yang, I don't know what you're going to call it, but it intrigues me and scares me a little bit because it feels so vast. And I picture myself out in space just kind of getting lost in this nothingness, But then it's also beautiful. I'll sit down at night sometimes and look when you can see the stars, and my mind, I feel like this star fever where it's oh my gosh, look at all this. It's crazy. And my husband is if you could go out to space, would you want to? I was oh, heavens, no. And he's oh, I'm going. I am going. I'm I hope you come back safely, So do you have these experiences? Would you go to space? Let's start there. Would you go to space if you could?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I'm right there with you a little bit. Uh, I'm going to leave it to the professionals.
Yes.
Honestly, I have such a deep, deep fear of the void, to be quite honest.
Hmm.
I think that's probably why I like doing what I do with the fabric, because I know what I can't or probably feel uncomfortable with, but I know where my comfort lies, and that's with the artistry of it all. But going to space, completely out of the question. But what we see
Thank
from
you.
it, oh my gosh, yes.
And it would be cool. It would be cool to be out in space and to see the Earth.
Yeah.
It'd be cool, but I don't want to do it. So yeah.
No,
No, thank
absolutely
you.
not. Yeah.
So let's rewind with quilting. How did you get started? Have you always been a dabbler? Like, where did you start with sewing and quilting?
Yeah, there's 2 points of entry. I think most quilters obviously tend to say that there's a 2 point entry system when it comes into
Hmm.
quilting. For me, the most prominent entry was 5, 6 years ago during the very early days of the pandemic, which is probably also another through line. But I was making face masks for the community that I lived in. Hard to find, especially April, May 2020, could not find a face mask to be seen anywhere. So I made about 250. Um,
Nice.
oh, yeah. The first versions, like the first 10 were awful, but
Yeah.
practice, as anyone knows, practice makes perfect, right? Or at least close to perfect. So I made a lot of face masks for friends, family, service centers in my community, like post offices and coffee shops. And at that point, I had a lot of scraps left over. And these were all materials that I was working with. These were all materials that I inherited from my mother after she passed away. So when I had the scraps, I started piecing them together into nine patch blocks or patch squares. And I noticed a quilt taking shape with these
Mhm.
pieces. And so I started making table runners just to get comfortable with it. And I really found that I enjoyed it, but it wasn't so much that I enjoyed making a quilt or a table runner or patch blocks, patchwork. I found that I was connecting to her in a different way that I
Mm.
didn't expect. So that was the prominent entry into quilting. Yeah.
So we've
And
got to talk about your mom then. So tell us why she had fabric, your relationship with her, what happened, all of that.
yeah, she was an avid quilter. I remember as a child that she was an avid quilter. A lot of her inspiration came into the quilting part. She did not like patchwork.
She
Um,
didn't like piecing.
no,
That's all
that's
right.
absolutely not. I could tell she sped through a lot of the piecing, especially with one of the quilts that I have of hers on my shelf, literally looking at it to my left. And the seams just don't seam.
Yeah.
But the quilting,
I feel seen. No, just
yeah.
kidding.
The quilting was her thing. She loved putting big, giant quilts on this huge hoop, this standing hoop, and she would just make the most beautiful, even, tiniest quilting motifs in the negative space of her work. And she would make them for commission most of the time. She would sell them through the farmer's market or clients that came through the farmer's market. But we also had a ton of wall hanging and quilts that were made by her in the home or among the family as well. And so when she passed away, she had a lot of that material still left over, a lot of unfinished tops, some finished quilts, a ton of fabric, her sewing machine, notions, everything. And I don't know what it was. I knew nothing about sewing, but I just gravitated to all that, grabbed it into baskets, and ran home with it. And it's been such a beautiful way for me to honor that memory of her working on her sewing and quilting, but also find that it's keeping me connected to her in a different way that I never expected. She's still very much alive in my life because of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And now I get to do it in a sense that's with my own point of view and not so not so much maybe
Yep.
what I thought she would like.
Yep. But there's something empowering about that. I think because my mom also passed away and she was a quilter and my aesthetic is different, but I think she's proud of that. I don't know. Do you feel that from your mom too? Like, no, I love this for you. Like, go eat that direction. And
Absolutely. Yeah, there's this picture I took at QuiltCon in 2025 in Phoenix. It was the very first time I had a quilt hang in a show. And it was Red Giant. And a friend of mine walked over to see the quilt with me for the first time. And I felt this immense, like, one, proud of myself, but two, I felt like, God, mom would be, I'm getting chills just talking about it. Mom is so proud to see that this vision is being honored. This vision is coming together in a beautiful way. So I feel a sense of pride every day. And even if it's very modern, very unusual for her style, there is pride for sure. Yeah.
And I just love hearing about her. I wish maybe if you can send a picture, I'd love to see her work. It was by hand, this quilting. And what an art, and that she loved it. It just, that really is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, there's a couple of posts on my Instagram. There's one I'll send it to you via DM, but there's one that shows some of the work that she photographed herself. There's a picture actually to my right now of her as a 20-something at a sewing bee around an actual stand on the floor with the long poles. My grandmother is in the picture and my Aunt Marion. And I'm not sure who the other lady is. Probably an auntie or something to my grandmother. But it stays right next to me in front of the design wall while I'm working in my office.
That's really, really cool. And there is something about quilting, at least for me, but I can tell for you too, where I feel a connection to those who've come before me. And I like to believe that it will continue forward, in whatever way that looks like with whoever that might be. But there's something very grounding about that. We create connection as humans, and it brings that.
Yeah, just yesterday, I was at the dental office having my teeth cleaned, and the dental assistant who I was chatting with, brand new, this is a new dental office, so first time experience with everybody there. And I was wearing a t-shirt that said, I'm in my quilting era.
Love it.
And she said, are you a quilter? I'm like, yeah. She's this young, like 20, late 20s, early 30s individual. And she's like, I'm a quilter. I quilt with my mom. And she has a long arm. And she started showing me all these pictures. I'm like, please continue quilting and pass it on.
Yep.
Yeah. It's very
I'm excited.
Fun.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, 20 something. Because even I'm in my 40s and people are like, oh, you're so young to be a quilter. I'm like, oh, come on now. I'm no young spring chicken, But when I find young people who quilt, I'm like, oh my gosh, so it's exciting.
Yeah.
So 2020, okay, this answered my question. Where did you get the sewing machine? It was your mom's sewing machine.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Project Runway Brother Edition.
Very chic. Very cool.
Chic.
I love it. Do you still have it? Do you still use it?
I do. It's a simple machine. It's a great entry machine. I use it for all the decorative stitches. It's great for applique, doing all the zigzag stitching, things like that. I recently used it to do a table runner for my partner. He wanted to have something very decorative for his studio. He has a beautiful music studio. So I pieced something together for him, and I wanted to use a really nice decorative stitch with gold thread on it. So I used it for things like that. But I did upgrade to a Juki for my regular piecing practice.
And do you love it? I've never sewn on a Juki.
Oh, I love it. It is such a workhorse for what I'm doing, because I'm working really fast with a lot of piecing. And my mom's machine just couldn't keep up.
It's like, oh no, too much.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. Which I have to say, side note, there's a few times on Instagram, either stories or something, where you post your house and it's amazing. And I think it's your partner's music studio So tell us what he does, and does he decorate? Who has that eye? It is so good.
Oh, him. Yeah, okay. He has the eye for the decor thing. He's got the whimsy. a little bit more magical, ingenue kind of spirit to himself. Usually if you see a picture with like green walls, it's probably his studio. It's just a beautiful space to be in.
It
Um,
is.
he's a musician, so he teaches private music lessons and he also plays for orchestras and symphonies. Violin is his primary instrument, but he's a great singer and he can play piano.
Lucky duck. What the? All the things I want. So can he do the fiddle too? Like it'd be so cool to play the fiddle. I mean, it's similar, right? It's
Oh,
not,
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, there's a
Okay.
difference between violin and fiddle. So violin you play on strings, and a fiddle you play on strings. So
Oh. I actually was like, what's the difference? Tell me.
that's the difference. That's it.
Oh, that is so cool. Well, if you ever host like a music party or something, I'm in. Gosh, that'd be so fun.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm sure that's on your bucket list. Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
We'll make it. So, okay, 2020 is when you started quilting with the masks. So what's your day job? What was it then? Is it still the same now?
Yeah, I do communications. I'm a corporate communications professional. Today, I work inside the healthcare industry, helping with HR and people communications now. It's mostly internal, but I have a lot of external communications. So terms like that, internal, inside organization, people focused. External, positioning the company, positioning the strategic message for those that are within the industry, those that are maybe consumers or potentially stakeholders that want to work with you. It's a very different field from what I do, which is why I need to have something like quilting because it slows me down in what could be a very fast-paced business.
Do you like your day job? And can you even say if you're like, yes, my boss might be listening. I love it.
I love it. I love it because you get to be a translator. And I enjoy what I'm doing now because I've only been with the company I'm with now for only, oh gosh, 4 months now.
Oh, yeah.
And
Okay.
yeah, it's very new. But prior, was with another company for over 10 years. So I've had a long history experience. But the thing I enjoy most is being a partner and telling the story and getting close to the brand and delivering that message out to the world, whether it's inside or outside the organization. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
I mean, communication is an art form in and of itself. Some people are really good at it. And sometimes I'll say something, I'm like, oh, yeah, they got that. They didn't, like it's communication. You would think it's so easy, but it's actually more difficult than you'd think. So it's an art form.
It is. Yeah, it's strategic. It's art. It's focused. It requires testing too. There's a lot of testing involved and measuring if your message is actually clear and resonating with your audience too. I love the testing phase. I think that's the part that I get most excited about because it's almost like a proof of concept. You're coming up with an idea, you're putting it out to the masses. If you see that people are clicking on to your content or engaging with your surveys and giving you positive or negative feedback, then you know that your message is working or it needs adjustment. That's my favorite
If
part.
it's crickets, you're like, so this has to help with your quilting audience and all of that. Can you share? Well, for one, I'm curious, what's your vision for lifting and stitching? Do you plan to keep this as like a side thing? Would you love it to become your bread and butter or what's the vision for that?
Yeah, I think I like where it is today. I see where I came from. I was actually scrolling all the way back to the very early beginnings of my page. I'm like, wow, this is really transformed. What I'm loving about where lifting and stitching is today is that it is kind of the side thing or the side component to what brings me joy outside of my routine and day to day. I enjoy making patterns and not just any pattern, but something that is a point of view or an expression of what I find interesting and fascinating in the world. And if it resonates and hits with those that are outside, I will take it to the next step. That's kind of where I'm enjoying where lifting and stitching is. I believe that there could probably be more, but I have to set guardrails because my time is precious, like anybody's time is.
Yeah. And sometimes when there's a little bit less of something, you appreciate it more. If you go all in, you can burn out. It can become too much of a good thing. So
Absolutely. Yeah. I think last year I kind of felt that encroachment of burnout in my quilting practice because I was designing so fast. I was pumping out art pieces that I wanted to hang in shows. And I noticed that I was making pieces that were not necessarily for the purpose of what I was connected to, but because I was trying to meet a deadline for somebody else. And that's where that burnout entry comes into the conversation, really knowing that you got to take a step back, pay attention to your health, pay attention to how you're feeling. And so this year I'm focusing a lot more closely to that. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting because when you say that, I can feel on myself. I know the difference where I come from. I want to create a quilt because I have something on my heart versus, oh no, I see other people do it. I better hurry and create something to keep up or whatever that might be. And it's a very different approach to designing, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, prime example, Trip Around the Universe, that's 2 years. I put 2 years of work into that, but I wanted to take baby steps to not only learn how to put that pattern together, but also do it with the heart and the thoughtfulness behind it. And at the same time, I was pumping out other quilts, like Saturn is made of moose. It's a beautiful quilt, stunning, but it was on a deadline. It was for a challenge. And there was definitely steps ignored in the process. So today it's not looking the greatest anymore, which is why I want to remake it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But 2 years, I think that's actually a great lesson for listeners. Like there's no timeline, just do it right. And if it takes longer, that's okay. You want to do it right and do it. And I'm sure you love that and feel so proud of it because you didn't take corners. You weren't doing it for anyone else but yourself in that process.
Yeah. And that's how it started. It started as a quilt. I've made 2 versions of it. The first version lives with my sister now, but when I tested it 2 years ago and posted it on social media, oh gosh, the comment section just went on fire. DMs, all the things. People were asking for a pattern. So that was kind of almost like a proof of concept situation. But it was at that point that I realized that if I'm going to turn this into a pattern, which I am, I need to do this right. And to do it right, it doesn't necessarily follow a textbook. It's about what you find right from your experience with a pattern. So I know what it feels like to work through a pattern from other designers. What works, what doesn't work, what could use a little bit more finesse or explanation. So that's what the 2 years was about, was experiencing what I enjoyed from a pattern writing process and how can I translate that into a pattern that I release into the world for something so meaningful. Yeah, so that's
I love that.
Matters.
And the art of writing a pattern. I love how you described that. Like, it's kind of fun. I love that challenge, especially of thinking, what's the best way to piece this together? How can I explain this in a way that is going to make sense and resonate? And it's fun, but it is a challenge. There are days where I'm like, I want to pull my hair out, And then there are some patterns I go back to years later and I'm like, that was crap. I need to rewrite that, So okay, I do want to talk about, now this is I'm like, do I admit this? You are a motivation for me for working out. There are times where I'm working out where I'm like, Joshua would be so proud of me, which I'm sure you would be. But can you share, because we've DM'd a bit about, I don't know, health, nutrition, working out. When did this become important in your life?
Yeah, I was actually not much of a gym goer prior to, maybe 2021, 2022, just shortly after we got the doors unlocked again and go back into the world. But I was really overweight but prior to all that. I was just not feeling good in my health in general. And I wanted to get back into the gym. I used to go in my 20s, slid off the wagon. And so around that early 2020 era, I went back to the gym and I found that it was really turning my wheels in my brain, not only just in my body, but my brain was starting to feel like it was able to use the time to think about other things, think about work, a project I'm working on, think about, a personal goal, think about a pattern or an idea. It was a really productive use of my time while also doing something physically well for my body at the same time. Since then, my goal was to maintain just a healthy body in terms of feeling good, not necessarily to aesthetically look good, though that's a nice bonus,
Right.
but to feel good is important. I knew I wasn't very strong, so one of my goals was to get weightlifting into my regular routine, and that's how lifting entered the conversation. Since then, I do lift a lot of weight, though as of today, I'm kind of back at a root of basics to get my strength back up again. I had a very unfortunate medical emergency that put me back quite a bit over the last couple of months. So returning back to some of the basic weightlifting has been humbling, but it's also kind of a reminder of how I started in the first place. I'm trying to see it in a more optimistic lens right now.
Yeah. Well, good for you.
Yeah.
But you're alive, after some big, scary medical things. It's like,
Yeah.
does it do that for you? Or it's like, my gosh, I'm alive. Wow. I
Yeah.
made it. Thank you, modern medicine,
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm very grateful that I was okay. Modern medicine really saved me there. And now it's just about doing the work and making sure I can keep up my body again. You never know when something crazy is going to happen to your body. So
I know. I can't think about it too much, but how much we're really not in control of our lives, where it's just like at any moment, I can't think about it because I could go down a rabbit's hole of getting like very anxious about that. But
yeah, Gen Z would call it a crash out, I think.
Oh, is that what it's called? Okay.
Yeah, I try not to crash out over things like that. That's why I think, yeah, I mean, again, that's why I live. That's why I, eat well. That's why I try to enter sewing into the conversation at least 2 to 3 days a week, because it's a great way to just kind of slow down and not crash out.
Yeah. Which I can be prone to that. So, and then, okay, you also are very healthy with your eating. Was that around the same time? Can you share a little bit like how that began and what you do?
Yeah. Yes, I'm vegan, plant-based diet. So no meat, no dairy, no cheese, no eggs, nothing. If it's from something that moves or crows, it's not for me. So I literally eat just like grains and vegetables, soy proteins. And I've been doing that for, January marked 5 years.
Nice.
Living that. Yeah. It kind of passed by really fast.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I mean, I'm intrigued by being vegan. It's a big adjustment, which is probably why I haven't done it. But like everyone who is like, I have never felt this amazing in my life. Is that the case?
Look, I'm not going to try to convert anybody. That's not what my goal is. But what I can tell you is that I never felt better. And I love things with numbers. Like, I love to test and see, analytical data, metrics, things like that. My doctor and I were reviewing some of my lab work over the last several years. My liver panels, my blood work, cholesterol, good and bad cholesterol, have vastly improved over the last 5 years. And the last 5 years ago, I started lifting, working out, but I also went vegan. So there are pros and cons. Like if you're vegan, there is some data out there that says that you lack B12 and vitamin D as well. So you have to supplement with extra vitamins for those. But overall, my health feels better. My body feels better. And I rarely get like a food poisoning incident now.
True. Yeah. Because it would be like spinach or something weird like that could potentially. But yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm intrigued. Yeah. I love it. So lifting and stitching.
Lifting and stitching with a cauliflower and broccoli head in hand.
Oh, I actually don't know that I noticed that. Wait, let me see your logo because you're wearing a shirt.
He's not no cruciferous vegetables on the shirt yet, but
okay.
We'll get there.
To be coming, yes. Yeah. So can you share some things that will be coming up soon for lifting and stitching?
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's probably already going to be out by the time this airs. But one of the things I know about myself is, again, I'm going back to time. Time is precious. But I set certain goals that if I'm going to set out to do pattern writing, I want to make it accessible, like get what I see in the world out into the world of other hands where I may not be showing up. And one of those goals was to get into a magazine. So I will be in Quiltmaker Magazine. There will be a designer profile. It's like a Q&A format article about who I am, how I started. And in addition to that profile, there will also be a pattern called Snapshot. And it's a very different point of view. It has nothing to do with the cosmos or stars. It's about capturing memories, about making memory quilts. And it's based and inspired entirely off of a memory quilt I made from my wedding. So I'm hoping that other folks can do something very similar, whether it's for a wedding or a graduation party, or maybe even a sweet 16, you never know.
I love that. So what does it kind of look like? Is it like little photos or yeah?
Yeah, it's windows. Yeah, it's kind of like photos. So think Polaroid. But instead of having the decorative or the hero print of fabric in the middle, it's on the outer side as the frame. And on the inside, you can use a solid fabric and you can write on those solids. So for mine, it's white fabric. Everyone wrote a nice message and put it in the box at our guest table. Or it's fat quarter friendly. You can use fat quarters to make the quilt and put the hero print inside the window and then use more of a blender or a small scale print on the outer frame. It's very
cool.
Very translatable for whatever you want to do.
Nice, but also very meaningful. You know, I love a memory quilt.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I love those. There's two through lines with my quilting, cosmos and memory. And I feel like Snapshot is a really great homage to memories and capturing them where they happen.
Especially thinking of that picture that's right next to you as you're sewing with your mom and tying in that connection. How did you get this feature? Like, did you reach out to the magazine?
Yeah, so this is where I want to encourage folks to really, especially if you're like wanting to get into a magazine or do something like that, talk to your local quilt shop. They have connections, or just your local quilt, sourcer. They know who is out there. When I was chatting with my local quilt shop, which is Studio Stitch in Greensboro, there was a really nice woman there who told me about Gold Peak Media. And they're basically like the media partner that owns like 5 or 6 different publishing, or they're the publisher to 5, 6 different quilting magazines. She gave me their contact, their information, and I just reached out to them with a pitch and said, hey, look, I have a pattern idea. I think it's a great fit for your aesthetic, your brand. And it wasn't for one of the 5 or 6 different channels I submitted for one of their other ones, but they shuffled me to another magazine because they saw a better fit there. So it's really about putting yourself out there and making those connections, not only just at home, but also via email to a big publisher.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I can, in my mind already, hear myself, and I'm fairly confident, but I can hear myself saying, Joshua is a communications major. He's obviously very good at reaching out. So I'm listening to what you did. You were very specific about your pitch. You were very specific about, I think this is a good fit for you. So you weren't just throwing it out to everybody. You were probably very intentional about who you reached out to. But what other tips could you give someone who feels like communication's not my strong suit?
Yeah. So I think when I approach communications, there's a practice inside the field called message housing. The message house is built, there's a lot of layers to it, but I like to focus specifically on more of a triangular approach. You think of your key message. Your key message is your core, your hook, and you have to create proof points. I usually like to try to have at least 3 proof points that anchor to that one key message. My key message to the publisher was that I have a pattern that captures memories that is perfect for a summertime edition for your magazine. A lot of events take place in the summer. That's when memories are mostly captured. So I knew that this is going to be a fit within that category. And my proof points were I have a fabric collection in mind already that would work well for this. Here's a key event that I use this practice for. And this is why I think your customers will resonate with it. Those are those 3 proof points that anchor to your core message. I highly encourage folks to consider when they're reaching out to somebody and putting themselves so vulnerably out there into the world, come prepared with your key message and have at least 3 anchors to it.
Ooh, that was a really good lesson you just gave there. Thank you, Professor Joshua.
You're very welcome.
I love it. So, okay, you've also had quilts featured in QuiltCon. Any other shows that I don't know about?
There's one coming up. I will have Trip Around the Universe will actually be hanging this summer. I don't have the exact dates in front of me, but I think it's in August in Asheville, North Carolina at the Asheville Quilt Show, which
Congrats.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm really excited. It's the show is in the home of the Long Armor, who I collaborate with there on the pattern. And it just feels like a nice homecoming to, celebrate this quilt together. So I'm really happy to have it hanging in the modern category. Saturn is made of moose, won a first place ribbon in the modern category at Texas Quilt Festival last summer.
Oh,
yeah.
Congrats.
I did not expect it, but at the same time, I kind of thought it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping to get another quilt I made called Pillars of Creation out the door soon. I submitted it for Festival of Quilts in Birmingham.
Awesome.
So it should be, if I can get it packaged and out on time, it should be ready to go for that show this summer in London. I won't be there.
Oh, in London.
Or UK, near London, Birmingham, but
you've got to go. Come on. That's a reason to go.
No, I want to see it so bad. I really do. So it's only
that is so cool.
I got to make sure that my work calendar aligns.
Yeah. Darn that work getting in the way. Yes. So any last tips that you could give listeners who are out there, let's say thinking of starting a creative business, or they're starting one, but they're just feeling like I could use a little more encouragement or direction. What advice would you share?
Yeah, find your point of view. I think that was some of the best advice that I got from somebody when I was just starting into what I'm doing now, was really find your point of view and don't feel like it is a point of view that you're designing around other people, but it's one that you're committed to because it does something so special for you. It really ignites your passion, it ignites your purpose in what you're creating for the world. And if you're doing that, then those that see it and appreciate it will come in and buy in with you.
I'm curious. I love that. Do you ever, well, I think I know the answer to this, so I'm going to ask anyhow. With your point of view being cosmos and memory, do you ever worry, like, what if this doesn't resonate with somebody?
Yeah, every once in a while, I used to worry more about that. And it's more if I've leaned into what I'm doing today, that anxiety or that saboteur in my mind is no longer an issue because I'm just so married to my point of view now. We're very interconnected. And if other folks aren't seeing it, that's okay. There's something out there that they'll connect to and gravitate to. I mean, I've had several abandoned projects over time that I know that were not for me, but because it doesn't fit into my point of view, and that's totally okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I just think as people lean into their point of view, there's a confidence that comes with that, a peace that you're just kind of like your own personality. You know, when you're trying to please everyone and have everyone like you kind of get lost in who am I? But when you really embrace who you are as a person, it's okay, you know, and it's not even, I mean, I say it's not personal, but like, we're not for everyone, you know, like I don't love every single, and by not, I don't love, I mean, we connect with different people on different levels and that's okay. It's not that anyone's bad or wrong. It's just, we're all so different. So I love that, like leaning into that point of view.
Exactly. Absolutely. And it does unleash that confidence for sure. I mean, I'm more confident today than in what I do in my practice with sewing than I ever have been because I finally found what works for me and what I feel happy with being produced. I mean, we spend so much time piecing these things together and putting them into the world. You know, it would be such a devastation to not enjoy it at the end, right? So that's why having that committed perspective from the start is so critical.
How long did it take you to find that point of view? Or did you start off knowing like, I'm going to go into the cosmos, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I got on my spaceship and then
Yeah.
yeah, I honestly was kind of meandering for the first 3 or 4 years. And I think what I found was I did a sampler quilt, which was like 16 different blocks of various formats and designs just to see, am I really committed to this aesthetic versus something else? And it was QuiltCon 2024 in Raleigh when I was walking the walls there of quilts and realized, oh my gosh, it's not just sample quilts. It's not just what I've been doing. It's so much more. It's artistry. It's depth of field. I mean, I was seeing so many different types of quilts that I could not believe were actually quilts.
Mm-hmm.
And it was at that point where my point of view really did shift into what it is today, that I knew that I love quilting, I love space science. Let's bring the two together and see what happens. Yeah.
There is something to be said too for, I mean, it might not be QuiltCon, but it is a great place, but to go and see what's possible, because sometimes we get stuck in our algorithm and seeing the same thing over and over again, but to go and experience, because when I go to QuiltCon, there are quilts that I'm getting up close to. I'm like, how did they make this? I mean, it just blows my mind in the best way. So there's something to be said for like, you know, going out and experiencing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not always there too. Like there's this really weird show on MGM Plus called From, and it's just bizarre, but it's good. But when I'm watching it, I'm seeing some really old like heirloom quilts in the set, and I'm spotting them. I'm looking at the fabrics. I'm looking at how they're made. So it's not just a quilt show. You might be out in the world or watching a TV show where you see something in fabric that may inspire your next shift or your next idea.
Mm-hmm. Like going out and living and just soaking in. Because I do feel like as a creative, we can't help but gather. We see things and we're inspired by all sorts. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this has been so fun. And you have been such a fun friend of mine on Instagram. This is our first time like chatting, but next up, I said it's meeting in real life. So we'll see when that's going to be.
I know. Yeah, I have to just speak to that because I am so glad that we connected. We've been connected for years now. You were like one of those like OG accounts that I started following when I started into this craft. And I'm just touched. I hope I am just touched that you asked me to be on your podcast. It really means a lot, not just as connections in the ethos, but as a friend as well. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. And I do just feel a connection. You're just a kindred spirit, if you will. So it's been fun to be Instagram friends. I'm honored to be one of the OGs. For our listeners, if they want to find you, where's the best place to find you?
Well, I recommend starting at liftingandstitching.com. There you'll find not only my trip around the universe quilt, but you'll also find a gallery of my quilts that are inspired by the cosmos. It's called the Quiltiverse. You'll also find a blog. I'm experimenting with blogging right now. Long form writing is something I love. So that's been fun to do. And I'm also lifting and stitching on Instagram. And it's fun.
Awesome. Yeah, listeners, go take a look. He's got some really cool stuff going on. And yeah, it's been really fun chatting. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Elizabeth.
Joshua, thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast. This was such a treat for me to be able to just chat and connect with you. And for our listeners, oh my goodness, I hope that you loved this just as much as I did. If you did, take just a minute to go and leave a review for the podcast. You can share what is most helpful or valuable, or even just leave 1 through 5 star review. That will also help other listeners find this podcast. So if you found it helpful, if you enjoyed it, take just a moment to go and do that. And then go check out Joshua of Lifting and Stitching. He has such a great aesthetic and look that you're just going to love. So thank you so much for being here, Joshua. Listeners, thank you for being here. We will see you next time on the Craft to Career podcast.